All right, so let's set up an entry order. So I'll just do a market entry. And since the question is about the profit target, we'll have to do, since we're using an indicator here, let's go to custom there. All right, so for the initial placement, we're going to switch the mode to indicator value. There we go. So now we can go find our envelope. There we go. There's our moving average envelope. And again, let's go and put in the adjusted values there. So I'm using 0.1 and 30 period. All right, so for a long trade, we're going to use the upper channel. And for a short trade, we'll use the lower channel like so. All right, so that's the initial placement there. Just a little tip, if we wanted to test, if we want to test the initial placement here, we can close that out and go to the dynamic planner and do a plan long, and bingo, we can see our profit target sitting right there on the upper channel line. Looks perfect. And if I do a plan short, there you go, it's sitting on the lower channel. Perfect. So at least I know I have the correct plots selected, and I have the correct indicators, that match what's on my chart also plugged in there. So, all right, so let's go back to setting up the trailing. So this is really what your question is all about. So let's go to the trailing actions tab. All right, so we're going to change the mode to custom and add a trailing roll. And it's going to stretch this out a little bit. So, and if you want, you can give this a name, right? Follow the MA envelope. So there's no trigger, right? We want it to start following the envelope immediately. So the action here is the only thing and the repeat. So we need to adjust the action here so that the order gets moved to, obviously not the last price, but we want to move our order to the indicator value, right? So if you notice, this is the same menu as on the options tab for the initial placement here. So we're just going to set this menu up exactly the same. So indicator value, go to indicator, and then go find our MA envelope. And oh, interesting. I didn't realize you couldn't put if you put a space in there, it doesn't quite work out for the search. Yeah. There we go. All right, MA envelope. All right, 0.1 and 30 period, and select the same plots exactly as we did before. And there we go. All right, so we have our MA envelope plugged in now. And so now let's go to the repeat and set this to repeat indefinitely. All right, so now since this is an indicator, right, indicators only update themselves once per bar. So we're just going to leave this all alone here. Just don't change anything there. All right, now we're done. So that's it for the trailing roll there, Albert. All you needed to do was set your repeat to indefinitely. All right, and then make sure you plug in that MA envelope again here into the trailing rolls, right? Just like you did on the options tab, right, for the initial placement, right? There you go. There's our MA envelope right there as well. Right. So with that, let's, I guess we're going short now. All right, let's go short. And yeah, we're on a 15 range chart. Yeah, the market is a little slow today. Yeah, for employment inventory report coming out. The market is really calm today. So, yeah, let me close that out. Let's knock this down to something a little faster. Let's go down to a 10 tick range. Or, yeah, a 10 range. Okay, now let's go short. There we go. Actually, I might have picked the wrong direction. Let me see. Actually, yeah, the market is going to move down here quite a bit. One last time, then it's going to start moving up. Okay, good. All right, well, we have about 3 minutes before the market really starts moving down significantly. And then we can watch that trailing. But in any case, there we go. I mean, yeah, we can see it's moving there. So, just to recap here, all right, so on the options tab, right, the initial placement, right, we can see that we set up the moving average envelopes there, right, so we plugged in our indicator and set up, you know, whatever values you want to use here. And since this is a profit target, right, we're going to follow the upper plot line, right, for longs, follow the lower line for shorts there, right, and you'll notice these settings are going to be used exactly the same, and this menu is going to be set up exactly the same again in the trailing actions tab here. So we'll switch over to this trailing actions and then go into the action column here, right? So we'll open this up and we want to move our profit target order 2, right? And so this is that same menu that we just set up in the initial placements on the options tab there. All right. And also, you know, remember, if you are adding a tick or two offset, you know, in the initial placement, you know, just remember to add that tick or two offset here as well. All right. So you want this whole menu essentially to look the same as in the initial placement there. Right, and of course, same thing for the indicator, right? All your indicator settings and your plot selections need to match exactly the same. You know, some other things here, I guess, that are noteworthy. Maybe you might only want your profit target to keep moving away from the entry price, right? So this profit target here is, right now, it's set up to follow the indicator exactly, right? But if you only want your profit target to move away from the entry price, then you can adjust the allow movement here. Yeah, only move that profit target with the direction of the trade, right? So since we took a short, then that means the profit target can only move downward, right, with the short trade there. Right. But if your intention, your purpose for the profit target is maybe to pull your profit targets in instead, set this to against direction, right? So since this is a short trade, this means the profit target is only allowed to move closer to the entry price, right, in the opposite direction of the trade. So, so that's how you can get profit targets to pull in closer and closer, you know, in case the markets, you know, aren't quite reaching your profit target there.